Welcome everybody to Red's Ramblings. I have with me today Donovan Clark. Doesn't have a podcast that I'm aware of, isn't from some strange country, but he knows a lot about philosophy. He's a young kid, knows a lot about philosophy, and he brought up a philosophy topic that I've never even heard of that I looked into, and it was confusing. So I asked him to come on and try and explain it to me. So Donovan, take over, explain a little, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your passion, it seems, for philosophy, because you really seem to have a passion for it.
Yeah, I do. I've been studying philosophy for about 3 years now, 3 or 2 years, and I'm from United States, Florida. I'm 17 years old, and I'm looking for a career in chemistry. I'm looking to be a nuclear chemist. I do philosophy as kind of a side thing, but so we'll be getting right into epistemology. So is there any questions that you have about epistemology?
Well, one, like I said, besides that day that we mentioned it on the Discord channel with Zach and them, I never heard of that term. I've known about, philosophy, logic, ethics, all that kind of good stuff. But that specific branch I've never even known about. And I dabbled into it a little bit that day and a little bit at work. And I don't know if I watched like a video or two on YouTube that was trying to describe it, but it was like individuals that know way more about it than probably both of us put together, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course.
And doctors and scholars and all that kind of crap. So while basically epistemology, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, epistemology is explain what it is, because I'm kind of losing track of it right now anyways.
Yeah. So simply explained, epistemology is just the area of philosophy where it's concerned with the creation of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of focusing on how knowledge is obtained and things like that, and the most valid ways to reach knowledge and getting the most accurate result possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the videos I was watching, they were describing it in a way that I kind of understood, but I also felt was a stretch. I don't know if they just made it too complicated and there was a simpler version that better explains it. But I know in that thread, when it first got discussed on the Discord, either you or somebody else brought up the Donald Rumsfeld thing from way back in the day.
Yeah, that was Kaju.
Yeah, and I remember that pretty clearly. I don't remember. I was in middle school at that point. So I remember that actual press conference pretty clearly. And at the time, it was like, what the hell is he talking about? It didn't make any sense to me. Then as I got older, it started to make sense, because basically what was he saying? He said there are knowns and there are unknowns and there are known unknowns.
There are known knowns and there are known unknowns. I can read it out if you want. For the people listening. If
you don't mind, go ahead if you have it.
Yeah. So for everybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, we're basically talking about there's a Wikipedia page on it about Rumsfeld during the Pentagon news briefing in February of 2002. Basically, in this briefing, he said this famous epistemology term that pretty much almost perfectly describes epistemology. So I'm just going to read it right now. So reports that say that something hasn't happened are always interesting to me, because we know there are known knowns. There are things we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say that we know that there are some things we do not know, but there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know. And if one looks throughout the history of our country and other free countries, it is the latter category that tends to be the difficult ones. That's basically what he said.
Yeah, and I would imagine to some people are probably going to listen to this like, what the did he just say?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it does go back and forth, it seems. But even like I said, at the time when I remember hearing about it, I was like, what the hell is this man talking about? It made no sense to me. But then afterwards, I got it here pulled up as well. for those that want to read along. But when I think of it, and when I started to understand it, it makes complete sense because yes, there's stuff that we know, and there's stuff that we know but we don't yet know, right? Like
Yeah.
I'll use an example that helped me understand it more, was like in terms of like dark matter out in space, right? We know that it's there, but we've yet to find like concrete evidence of it. But we know it's there.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
hard to be observed.
Exactly. So that, correct me if I'm wrong, that's a known unknown, right?
Correct.
Exactly. And obviously, like, we know that the sun's up there because we can fucking see it and all that kind of shit. You know,
Yeah.
but it's stuff like that we know is that, or even, I'll even say aliens, you know, like we know they're out there,
Yeah.
but we don't have concrete, legitimate evidence.
Yeah, we use logical reasoning to
Mhm.
determine. So basically, there's about how many people are there in the world? Do you know?
A few billion. I don't know off the top of my head.
So I just looked it up, and there's
Okay.
about 7.5 billion people as
Okay.
of 2018.
All right.
So we've seen all these people, right?
Mhm.
In our day-to-day lives, and we see that there's different races, people with different beliefs,
Yes.
and sexualities, genders, etc. We can make pretty accurate logical assumptions that, so basically there's one person that is a male, so I can accurately say that there's probably another person that is a male. If so, applying this to Earth, for example,
Okay.
that there's 7.5 billion people on Earth. What is there to say that there isn't another habitable planet that is inhabited by billions or trillions of other organisms?
Very true. Yes.
Okay, so let's try to explain a bit about epistemology, because there's different branches of epistemology, and Rene
Okay, yeah.
Descartes, he added a lot to epistemology with his evil genius theory.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting. So basically, the evil genius argument is
Okay.
it's very, very simple. So basically, the argument is, if I know that P, then I can rule out that the possibility that there is an all-powerful evil genius deceiving me about P. Okay, so
Hold up. What? What?
okay, okay, I can
You
repeat
lost
it.
me already. Holy shit.
Okay, so let me get this notepad. One sec. Notepad. So, if I really know that P, then I can rule out the possibility that there is an all-powerful genius about P. Do you get it?
So P is, you're just using that to stand in for
Yeah, it's
anything.
a
Really.
variable.
Okay.
Yeah, anything.
All right.
So, okay, so the second premise is that I can't rule out that the possibility that there's an evil genius deceiving me. So
Okay.
how can I really know that the thing I'm seeing actually exists? So in conclusion, I don't really know at all if what I'm seeing exists. This is a pretty fantastic argument for anything in reality, really. See, you think that the sun is there, right? You know, we see it every day.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many scientific studies saying that it's there, and it interferes with our everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, what if you're just like a brain in a vat, and there's like this computer just simulating this for you? What if that's not really reality? How do you really know for sure that that's there? It's pretty much the best possible skeptical argument. The evil genius is all powerful, and so it can generate doubt about anything for which it is possible to generate doubt about. The argument works for propositions about complex objects as well as propositions about simple objects. But what it doesn't work for is the evil genius argument cannot generate doubt about my own existence for the fact that I'm thinking. So if you ever heard the famous quote, "I think, therefore I am," that was also made by Descartes. It's basically that the only thing we can know for sure is that we exist because I'm thinking as we speak. And not even an all-powerful evil genius can make me think that I exist when I do not exist. It would require making me exist and not exist at the same time, which is impossible. And not even an all-powerful evil genius can make me think that I am thinking when I am not thinking. It would require making me think and not think at the same time. It's kind of impossible.
So like a Schrodinger's cat type deal.
Yeah. Schrodinger. I love that one.
All right, so let me, before I forget this, because you're kind of right now on me. Evil genius theory seems like a precursor to what is, I guess, evolved into the simulation theory right now, right?
Yeah. It's pretty much exactly like the simulation theory.
Yeah. Now that I've read about. I've heard a few things about it. I mean, it's the Matrix, essentially.
Have you watched the movie?
Fuck yeah, I've watched the movie. I'm 30, dude.
Great movie.
I'm fucking 30, bro. That was my shit at the time.
I love that movie.
Yeah, a lot of that, because I know the Wachowski siblings, I think they are at the time, currently right now, used a whole lot of like philosophical, political. It wasn't just a story that they wrote down. They put a lot of thought into how they created the Matrix universe over there. So I wouldn't doubt if somewhere in the notes of them that they came across the evil genius theory, and you know what I'm saying?
You see a pattern. You see a pattern in these skeptical epistemology arguments. There's a pattern. You can look up the unreliability of the senses argument. You can look up the dream argument. You can look up the evil genius argument, for example. There's a pattern that we really can't know anything. It's very interesting.
So, all right. So, okay. Before I go off into something and totally blow my mind, are there some things that you've looked into so far that you don't agree with? That you're like, I don't know about that.
Could you be more specific?
I cannot, because I don't know a shit about this thing.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if like in looking into stuff that you've done over the last 3 years, you've like hit a question that you have that, you know, you would love to ask somebody who knows more about this.
Well, kind of a tough question. You have to put me on the spot.
I'm sure. Yes.
Because like a lot of it, like most of my friends, they're not that deep into it. You know what
I mean, I'll be honest, when, you know, I talked to you about coming on and everything, I was not expecting a 17-year-old. I was say that right off the bat. I was not expecting a young kid to be into something like this.
Yeah. So I will answer your question in a minute, but I want to tell you how I kind of got into philosophy.
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah. You asked me off the show, and I put a lot of thought into it. You know what I mean? And basically, I kind of got into philosophy for the wrong reason. Okay. As pathetic as it sounds, there was this guy. His name was Atheists Are Stupid. and
Okay.
I wasn't an atheist at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure what I was. Pretty sure I was agnostic or something like that.
Yeah.
And basically, he brought up the cosmological arguments. I can cite that out later if you don't know what it is. And man, I just got crushed, like completely demolished. I didn't stand a chance against this dude.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, I really want to beat people in arguments on Discord too.
Yeah.
And make me feel stupid and make me look
fun.
smart.
It's
yeah,
fun.
It is fun. But while I was doing research into philosophy, I was like, wow, there's so much information. I literally have no idea where to start.
Yeah.
And at first I started into metaphysics. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what metaphysics is. And just to learn the cosmological arguments with Thomas Aquinas and other metaphysical philosophers. And it got me. So basically, I became the atheists are stupid guy, or is stupid. And I used his exact same arguments. And then I thought I was the smartest person in the world. And I joined this like philosophical Discord and I tested out my arguments there. And man, I just got crushed again. So after that, I was like, wow, I really don't know anything. And that kind of really sparked my interest in philosophy, particularly with epistemology, because in my opinion, there's a lot more to that branch than the other branches. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into philosophy. And that's how I talk to people about philosophy today. That's how it all started.
That is kind of funny though. I do like that. You got being the argument, you're like, God damn it, and go looking into doing the sort of same thing and think you got it now, and then like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, I got humbled quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I'll say it, man, that's always good to hear, especially again, I'm not super old, I'm only 30, but I enjoy hearing about people that have an open mind like that. Because a lot of it seems in this day and age is it's my way or the highway. You're right, I'm wrong, or I'm right, you're wrong. There's nothing you can do to change my mind. So to hear that you came up against something, you're like, shit, I got beat. Go back to the drawing board. I was wrong, and be able to take that type of hit twice, not even just once, take it twice, and still come back, knowing your faults at that time and learning from them. I applaud you for that. That's really cool. I like that.
Thank you.
Yes,
I strive to be that person.
That's good. That's good. I feel no matter what, you could be the brightest man in the room, but if you don't acknowledge your own faults, you're also the dumbest at the same time.
Yeah.
So then I want to, unless you want to go into something else, I'm kind of curious now. So I guess sort of a hobby you have is this philosophy stuff, epistemology and everything. But the career path you're choosing seems to be very like straightforward, super logical.
Opposite direction. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think you said nuclear engineering always been a thing, like since before philosophy, or has that kind of? How does that come about? Yeah.
So basically, not only is my hobby just philosophy, I just like learning things in general. I really like learning logic. So you can kind of see how I kind of get drawn toward mathematics and science. So it's really not that complex. It's just the stats for STEM was better than philosophy, so just went with that. And I just liked science and math, so it kind of worked out.
Okay, and I mean, there's definitely got to be more money in nuclear engineering than philosophy, because that was one thing that that's what we were talking about beforehand. If you can explain to me the benefits in today's society, because I remember we spoke about, and I told you to hold off on it, the only really question I had was, how does philosophy benefit today's society? Because, yeah, back in the day, Roman times and all that kind of stuff, you had, all the Socrates and Plato and all of them, when humanity was still learning, we had a basic grasp of knowledge, I guess, or what we thought was knowledge, maybe. And now we know a lot more. We know a lot more. We're a lot more confident in our. Dude, I'm getting nervous just saying knowledge in this conversation right now.
Yeah.
Because is it knowledge? I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Do
what we
we
think
really know
of this
this?
world, exactly. So I would imagine in today's modern world, we have a better understanding. I'll use that better understanding of the world around us. So, how exactly does philosophy fit into today's world?
Yeah. So what people don't realize is that philosophy, it's really not academic at all.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, you can learn philosophy at an institute, college,
Mhm.
school, whatever, but what people don't realize is that philosophy is in every person's life.
Mhm.
We use these logical formulas to determine morality,
Yeah.
um, how to get an answer to a question, and things of that nature. So,
Mhm.
a very, very popular example of this is the scientific method.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm not sure who made the scientific method. I forgot. I used to know it like the back of my hand.
Mhm.
But without philosophy is kind of the father of all schools of thought, and father of science, father of language, father of almost everything that you can imagine, to be honest. And without philosophy, we wouldn't really be different from just apes.
So, if I could simplify this, it seems that philosophy in today's world is basically what drives us to question
Yeah.
things. Because obviously, if we didn't question anything, we wouldn't ever advance. We never would have progressed to where we're at. There's always that why, what, where, how kind of stuff. And that is philosophy.
Yeah, we wouldn't be where we are today if it weren't for philosophy.
Okay. So even though there aren't we don't have a modern day Socrates or anything, I'm sure someone kind of is filling that role.
Yeah.
But because it's more broad now and we've all inherently got a basic understanding of it, um, it's just become part of our everyday life at this point, and we don't even realize, oh, that's actually a piece of philosophy. You're questioning whatever. So whether you know it or not, you're questioning it kind of out of a philosophical nature, possibly.
Yeah,
Right?
questioning literally anything and
Yeah.
wondering about anything is philosophy.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. I never thought of it like that. It's like
Yeah,
the invisible web.
yeah, it's it's kind of like a dark horse nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Cause like there's this meme that I love. It's where a lot of STEM aficionados, they're like, oh, philosophy is outdated, and we have facts and logic on our side, and basically the entire foundation of STEM is philosophy.
And logic is a branch of philosophy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I know a shit ton about logic. I feel my brain is very logical in how it usually thinks. But I never really, until today, I never really considered it a form of philosophy. I pulled the philosophy thing up that showed branches when I asked you if you were, okay to come on today. For some reason, I just felt it was like distant cousins, maybe, I don't know. I never considered it as part of the branch of that.
Yeah, like I was saying, people see philosophy as this kind of like discipline where you have to learn to think like a philosopher, but
Yeah.
what people don't realize is that they're kind of already philosophers when you question things. I would go as far to say as thinking at all is philosophy. Makes you think.
Right. That.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that out of the way. I think that's, again, I'm not really that smart. I just remember things, and I like to learn though. But if I can understand that pretty easily, I think anyone who listens should be able to understand that pretty easily as well. So then I want to hop back into the one you're more familiar with, epistemology, and
Yeah, I kind of wanted to get back into that as well. So
Yeah.
epistemology, like other branches, there's branches of philosophy. There's also sub branches of each branch.
Okay.
So let me go over the branches of epistemology.
Okay.
So basically, these are like these branches of epistemology. They're basic. You subscribe to one of these, and
Okay.
you'll get it when I explain it. So basically, the first branch of philosophy is called rationalism.
Mhm.
So rationalism is logical reasoning is the active producer of concepts and therefore requiring a deductive logical reasoning process. Providing the initial premise is correct, deductive logic can provide absolute proof of conclusions reached and is strongly associated with scientific research. So to simply explain it, rationalism is you can't know something without logically like thinking about it first.
Yes.
And it makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
But when I bring up this other branch, it might not make sense.
Here we go.
Okay, so another branch is empiricism, and I don't want to get too complex. It's very simple. Empiricism is basically that you can only know something if you experienced it.
Okay.
Okay,
I got that.
That's empiricism.
Okay.
Okay,
Never heard of that word till today, by the way.
it's okay. So the famous Rene Descartes, he said, "This doesn't make sense. They're not separated like this. You can't really know anything by using only one method of knowing something or coming to know something." I mean, so he came up with the transcendental branch, and basically, he's basically saying that you can't only learn things from one thing. You have to use a mixture of empiricism and rationalism, where you can only know some things when you experience it, and you can only know some things when you like drawn it out or figure things out.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, so those are the branches of epistemology.
I mean, when you put it like that, that's very simple.
Yeah.
That makes a whole lot of sense because, even if you experience, you know that experience, but you don't know the causes around whatever that experience is, anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot once you dive down deeper into whatever it is, where you learn more about whatever the particular thing is.
Yeah. So there's more branches of epistemology. I'm sure you've heard of skepticism.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so skepticism is one of them. It's where you can only know things if you kind of question it first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Questioning things is fun though.
Yeah. There's pragmatism.
I've heard of that. What is that again?
It's kind of like an approach that assesses the truth of meaning of theories or beliefs in terms of their success of practical application.
Can you explain that a little bit simpler? Like use an example.
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm getting this right, I haven't really used the term pragmatism that much. So, okay. So basically it's, to explain it in very simple terms, please bear with me. I might be wrong. I know.
Okay.
Is that basically that it's only true if it's worked in the past. That
Gotcha.
I think that's basically what it is.
I mean, that kind of makes sense because obviously it had to have, the only way it worked was if it was true.
Yeah.
So yeah, makes sense. That's simple
Yeah.
enough. That
Pretty
is simple
simple.
enough. So when it comes to the core of epistemology is like the idea of, or the understanding how one could know something, right?
That's it.
How, I'm trying to get my brain into being able to explain this, something I don't understand completely anyways.
Well, that's why we're here, right? Just
Yes,
ask away.
hopefully. How does one in the field of epistemology, how does one know something? I know that's
simple.
very broad. I know it's very broad, it sounds.
Well, it's broad, but it's kind of simple at the same time. So I brought up the evil genius theory.
Yes.
And I didn't explain the dream theory and the senses theory because they're exact same, to be honest.
Okay.
So to come to know something, it depends on the situation. And so are you talking about knowing something like for sure? Like for sure, like you can't, like you're not being manipulated by an evil genius.
Yeah.
So
whew. I'm trying to think of something. Man. Oh. All right. This might not work for this particular scenario, I guess. So if I'm going way off out of left field, just go ahead and stop me. But so, you know, you get these articles and news studies or scientific studies that come out and say, we found this and that, right? Now, I'm not a scientist. You're going in that field, it sounds like. But one thing I've always wanted to know, it's this sort of falls in that realm. One thing I've always wanted to know is how, when they do a study of, let's say, okay, I can't remember exactly what the study was, but it was some study of like frogs and dreams or some shit, or just animal dreams, right? I know, right? It's whoa, we're going out there. But you know, there are studies that say, you know, they know whether or not something dreams and shit like that, like a non-human. How do they know?
Okay, yeah, I can explain this. Okay, so before we
because I'm like the damn frog doesn't talk to you. It doesn't say, hey, I had a nightmare last night.
Yeah, so this might frustrate you. So I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
How do you know that your sibling or your mother or father is actually conscious and is not programmed by a robot?
I mean, I don't know.
How do you know anybody is conscious? Yeah.
I mean, you don't. I mean, like, it's one of those things is like, that's where I feel belief falls in play.
You just believe they know. You just believe you know. That's the whole, that's basically how I see it. How knowing anything works. You just believe you know.
Yes.
You can try the scientific method or You can try any other logical formula to come to know something, but no matter how complicated your logical formula gets, you're still just believing, you know.
All right, so then let me ask you this: what about when it comes to, because you're big into math and everything, and I'm not, but I know math is essentially like the universal law, right? Like you can apply math to figure out just about anything.
Yeah.
Is that a known?
Nope.
And if so, how?
I'll explain. Okay, so I'll explain. So, did math always exist prior to humans?
Okay. Oh man, I know a perfect guy who would love this conversation. So I have a buddy of mine I work with, and shit, I'm gonna send him this when we're done because he's gonna be right up this. He's gonna love this.
Oh,
His thing was, and it makes sense, but it's like But now that I know of epistemology, I kind of can't argue against him anymore, I guess now. But he was kind of like going like, he's like, what was math like when we were cavemen? I was like, it was out there. We just hadn't found it yet, discovered it yet, figured it out yet. He's like, does that mean it was or wasn't there? I was like, it was there. Like, how do you know? I'm like, because we know it's like universal law and it can work with everything. And we've always been able to figure things out with it. So it's there. He's like, yeah, but we didn't have that knowledge then. So was it? It's kind of like, what is it? If a bear shits in the word, if a bear shits in the wood or something like that, or definitely if a tree falls in the woods, does it? I don't know. I can't think of the actual phrase, but that kind of sounds like what we're talking about, right?
yeah. So, very simply put, math was not discovered. It was invented by humans.
Yeah.
So, because like, it just doesn't make sense. How does something that, oh my God, this is getting a bit complicated.
Okay. Trust me, like, yeah, I understand.
Okay. So, math is a human construct. Very simply put. So, the only reason mathematics is admirably suited describing the physical world is that we invented it just to do that. We literally applied it to everything.
Yes.
It can. So, did algebra exist prior to its invention by some dude? I forgot his name. Sorry, I should know that. And okay, so same thing kind of goes for language. It's kind of like asking, did language exist prior to humans?
See, I don't believe in that one. I don't think that works.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I worded that wrong. Oh my God.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I get where you're going from. I totally understand. Because I think when me and my friend, we were getting into it, I think it started with money. And it was like, we came up with money, so we're putting values on everything. So we could easily devalue everything if we chose to, but we choose not to. Therefore, does anything have value? And I'm like, no, nothing really
inherently
has value.
No, it doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah. So we kind of extrapolated that conversation into fucking everything.
Yeah, you could apply that to literally everything.
Yeah. And I guess, and I'm pretty sure he didn't even know this, it seems like he was inherently talking about epistemology without even knowing it. Because he was like, no, it wasn't ever there. We made it up. It's our thing. But see, where I run into a wall with it is, okay, yes, we invented math. Cool. I'm okay with that. I agree with that. But it kind of seems like, since it does seem to work with just about everything we apply it to.
That's because we invented it to apply it to everything. So it's basically that we invented it in describing the physical world. Is we invented it just to do that. Like we invented it along the way to apply it to things. Which is why new forms of mathematics was created to apply it to the world.
That just seems so. That seems odd, crazy to me because like the way you describe it, it's kind of it does make sense. It's hard to argue, but I want to argue against that because it works with everything. Because I'm thinking, yeah, it sounds fucking wild. Because I'm like, okay, whoever started math the first time, and then whoever came with algebra, calculus, trigonometry, all that kind of bullshit. I don't think it'd be a stretch to imagine that when they thought of these forms or whatever you call them, branches of math, they weren't thinking like, we're going to be able to use this to figure out how far our planet is from that planet. And, I think there was that one star that dimmed when the telescope was looking at it, and they used math to figure out or to try and figure out what was causing the dimming, because they were like, is that a moon?
Are you talking about Betelgeuse? The star Betelgeuse?
I don't think so. But I know there was like a few years ago, there was a star that was dimming, and there was, theories went wild about it being like a space station type Death Star shit. There's something vaguely about that. I'm probably totally wrong, but they were trying to figure out what was causing this star to dim. And they used math to figure that kind of shit out. And I'm like,
yeah,
whoever figured out these calculus, invented these calculuses, algebra and all that, never imagined that it was going to be used for that kind of stuff. So when it's like that, I'm like, it seems like it's something that's always been there. We just had to kind of figure it out.
Dude, you got me with the Death Star. What the hell? Oh my god.
Oh, this is why the show's called Red's Rambles, because I just fucking go.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It is yeah. It is that one, the one you're speaking of. Beetlejuice guys. Yeah. But yeah, so they used it.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah. Math. We invented math along the way. We made it applicable to everyday situations. Which is why we create like units of measurements over time, because it called for it, like parsecs, light years, meters, and geometry, all things like that.
That's just.
I know it sounds kind of absurd, but
it does.
When you really like actually think about it, like at first I was kind of in denial about it, but like I was like, Jesus, like this is true.
Well, yeah, like I'm not in denial about it at all. It makes sense, but it also still seems far-fetched.
It seems weird.
Yes.
It doesn't seem right, but
exactly. It's like it's true. Right, it's like if I was looking at it on my desk right now, I was like, all right, you're right there. I can hold you. I can feel you, but you're fucking weird. I don't care. Something off about you still.
Yeah.
That is. Oh, man. All right. Death Stars, Beetlejuices, and demon philosophies.
Where'd you hear that from, dude?
What, the Death Star thing?
Yeah.
I actually got it pulled up right here. This was from 2 years ago. I'm gonna see if it is actually connected to Beetlejuice.
Let me on Messenger.
Well, I'm about to share it right. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
The alien megastructure, not the cause of dimming of the most mysterious star in the universe. Yeah, so there was, how conspiracies go. Tabby's star. So it wasn't Beetlejuice. It was Tabby's star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like it kept dimming for some reason, and they're trying to figure it out, and conspiracy people got a hold of it and thought aliens. You know how
alien
it goes.
megastructure.
Yeah. Death Star. That's a fucking Death Star. Alien megastructure is a damn Death Star. Oh, so man. So what are some other known unknowns that you can think of? Like I mentioned dark matter. That's the only one I can really think of currently. And aliens. I believe those are two known unknowns in my opinion. What are some other ones that we know about?
Like we know they exist, but we don't know.
Yeah.
We can't observe it.
Yes.
Known unknowns. So we can apply this to pretty much anything that we know at face value, but we want to do some more research on it. It's kind of like the scientific method, for example.
Mhm.
We know it exists and we observe it to know more.
All right, let me switch it up to a more interesting one. Where does religion fall in all this?
So a common misconception about religion is that any sort of belief in a deity is a religion. It's simply not true. You can believe in a deity, but not have a religion for it. A religion is you're basically worshiping that deity.
Yes.
Religion is I wouldn't. So obviously the deity itself is metaphysics.
Okay.
That's obvious.
Yes.
I guess it depends on the religion, to be honest. I wouldn't really say that religion is a branch of philosophy. I guess it depends on what the religion is. But for example, I was a deist at a time when I was first getting into philosophy.
What is that?
A deist is basically the belief of a deity, but it doesn't. Not only does it not intervene with the universe, but the main belief of deism is that God or a deity, for example, they created the universe, but the reason isn't readily apparent to us. It believes that they created the universe for a reason, but we just don't know it. And God's full nature is incomprehensible because of the limitations of the human mind. And yeah, that's basically what deism is. I was a deism for a long time when I first got into philosophy, because that dude, atheists are stupid. He was a deist. And he was giving me his reasons for being a deist. I was like, wow, that does make sense. And yeah, I was a deist for some time. And so deism, it's often for some reason confused with theism. Theism,
yeah, that one I know of.
Yeah, it's a belief that a god or gods created the universe, but they intervene, and they intervene in human affairs. And yeah, that's theism.
Deism is the belief that God created the world and then let it evolve itself. Deists believe the best form of worship was to do good unto others. Deism gained prominence as people began to accept the scientific method. Yeah, okay. I have nothing against that.
That's I was a deist for a long time. It made a lot of sense to me, but now I'm an atheist. Okay. So now we're getting into the juicy stuff of philosophy.
Ooh.
The big debate: atheism versus theism, or believe in some sort of deity. Okay. So if anybody who's knowledgeable in philosophy, relax for a moment. I'll get into why I'm an atheist. Okay. So as I just said,
by the way, I have no problem saying that.
I did believe in a God at a time, and now I don't. And this isn't something that kind of just happened. overnight. I was a deist for a long time until just recently I stopped being a deist. And now I'm an atheist. I acknowledge the flaws of being an atheist. I understand that I can't know for sure that God exists or doesn't exist.
Even I can admit that, yes.
I do not make the claim that God does not exist. I'm just saying that he's not observable for us, so we can't really know for sure. Now, some people say, okay, dude, that's agnosticism.
Yeah.
People say that's agnosticism. Let me get into the reason why I don't believe in agnosticism.
Okay.
So, being agnostic, basically the whole reason that people are agnostic is that we can't either know or not know that God exists. But I don't believe in agnosticism because, in my opinion, I feel like withholding judgment is the same thing as not believing in something. So I'm not an atheist. So at the moment, I don't believe in God. But if I got some evidence, which that whole area itself, the reliability of evidence and epistemology and things like that, if I knew for sure some way that God exists, I would believe in God, of course. I would be completely irrational not to.
For sure.
But the problem is that we're going to get into epistemology again. We're going to apply this to metaphysics. So let's say you die and ta-da, the Christian God is real.
Yeah.
And so basically we're going to bring up the reliability of senses. Okay. I'm not sure who made this argument, but basically it's kind of like the evil genius argument.
Okay.
It's basically saying, like, how can you know for sure what you're seeing is real? What if you're in a dream? Or what if you're getting controlled by an evil genius or something like that? How do you know for sure that God is real, even if you think you see him right in front of your face? So that's that whole... When I realized that, I kind of became an atheist. And yeah, that's how I'm atheist. I acknowledge the flaws of being an atheist, but I feel like there's more flaws with believing in God than not.
I will agree. You mentioned a form of epistemology at one point but it seems like we both agree. I'm trying to remember what the term was, where basically you believe it or you think you know it when you like see it firsthand.
Yeah.
There was a term you said at one point for
Empiricism.
I think so. That does sound about right.
Yeah, you can only know something when you experience it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the way I see it as well. I've never believed. Grew up I live, you live in Florida. I live in South Carolina. So grew up in the South, around a religious family. Grandmother was really religious. Went to church all growing up, but it just never clicked with me. But even still, like while I do as well classify myself as an atheist, I'm also like, I could be wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've said to everyone, I think I mentioned it when Mr. Man on the Discord channel popped up, talking about, getting attacked for being a Muslim. I was like, I got no problem if something happens.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I see something or I experience something. And if it brings that into me to where, oh shit, I was wrong. Fuck it, I'm wrong. Here we go into whatever religion that ends up being, right? Got no problem with it. I want to ask you this though, because it seems during your time in deism, that picture I pulled up, it says deists believe the best form of worship is to do good unto others, right?
Yeah. I've never heard of that, but
okay. But I mean, it makes sense. Like, be good to be good to people. Why not?
It's sorry to interrupt.
Oh no.
I want to get into morality, even though I kind of cringe.
I'm fine with that. Well,
I cringe when we talk about morality, but I feel like this is kind of important because it ties into epistemology.
No, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So,
well, let's go. Before you go, let me ask you this: Let me ask you this. I'll ask you a question. I don't think this really falls into philosophy or anything. So just, I want your opinion on something.
Okay.
As a former deist, current atheist, I'm under the impression that, all right, let's say I die or you, whoever, and well, let's say I die, right? I'm atheist. I pass away. I end up being wrong. You know, they say you go to the gate and whichever one, I can't remember who's going to judge you, right? So you go to heaven or hell. Cool. And
St. Peter.
St. Peter, yes. Yeah. And so they say, St. Peter says something along the lines of, well, you know, you lived a good life. You didn't necessarily believe, but you didn't like do anything heinous or anything crazy. You were good to people. When you messed up, you owned up to it, yada yada. You were essentially what a quote unquote Christian or whatever whoever believes in is supposed to be during life. But because you didn't believe, down you go. I've had, when I get in talks with religious people, they're like, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you don't believe, that's where you go. And I'm like, ah. And
I think that's
I will call out Christians because this is mainly the ones that happens with. And because I'm like, in all your teachings, it's like, he's forgiving, he's this, he's that. And the way I'm saying he's this, he's that, I'm not disrespecting your gods for whoever's listening. I'm just speaking plainly. But it seems in my mind, the way I see it is, if I'm wrong and if I do good without the fear of whether or not I go to heaven or hell, the fact that I do it regardless should actually be even better, in my opinion. You know, because I didn't need that fear of heaven or hell, or excuse me, just fear in general of hell to have me live a good life. I was just a good-looking person regardless. So, hey, you know, you get extra pass and you get to go on this better level, you know, whatever the hell, you know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Okay. So this is a perfect example of one. It's a very popular argument for believing in God. It's basically, it's called Pascal's wager. And basically, it's the belief that, okay, so if I don't believe in God, I'm going to spend eternal damnation in hell, suffering.
Mm-hmm.
If I do believe in God and I follow his scriptures, I'll go to heaven and be happy.
Okay.
So by that logic, I should just believe in God. So I hate that argument. People use it a lot. I used to. Yeah, I became a Christian at one time because of that argument, because I was scared to go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
But my thoughts on that, I think it's really messed up. That's not fair at all. Why give, if you created humans, why even give them the choice to believe in something else in the first place? It's just not fair. Why, they make humans so logical and they're extremely intelligent. It's kind of like it's like entrapment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just not fair at all.
It kind of puts a limit on how far you can go. It's kind of, that's a very broad phrase right there, but because like the way like I said, you know, in all the scriptures, you taught to be good, do good, and all that kind of stuff, and you get in heaven. Or else you go in hell and you should be scared, and how dare you, blah 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 blah. Well, like if you should just, the fact that you should just be good regardless of who you believe in, what you believe in. I don't care if it is, you know, fucking Pastafarian or some shit, you know, all that kind of crap. I don't care. As long as you're good, that's all that should matter, if that's true. That's all that should matter. That's just my belief. This is my belief. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll find out. We'll find out one day.
Yeah, I'll die and I'll go to hell because I didn't believe in God.
right? He'll pull up this interview and be like, "See here, man, you guys questioned
Fucking
me, and down you
fucking
go."
rip.
I'm gonna knock on my cell wall. Hey, Donovan, is that you? What's up, bud?
Yeah, we fucked up.
Oh, it's definitely right now. We just fucking put a stamp on that bitch.
Yeah, it's for sure now. Yeah, I also believe in that. It's called the categorical imperative. It's a logical system. It's a logical system for determining what is moral or amoral. It's basically, put it in very simple terms, because it shouldn't get more complicated than what I'm about to say. But that can happen sometimes in philosophy for some reason. People get carried away with these words, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the categorical imperative is do unto others. It's basically think about it in the other person's shoes.
Yeah.
Very famous saying. Just like, if I did this,
is
how
do
would
unto
the
others as you want done unto you, right?
yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, but I messed up. I subscribe to that. It's very simple, and yeah, like it's perfect, to be honest, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's just how humanity should be, regardless of fear of anything. It doesn't matter. It's how things should be, no matter what. That's all I got for that. I mean, there's like, I don't see how anyone could ever argue against that. But I think I think one of the reasons why I've also never even considered not just Christianity, but like any type of religion is, especially these days, when you see the ones, and this is going way off what this show or episode's going to be about, but we're here, so fuck it. Here we go. You see the ones preaching certain stuff and doing some dirty ass shit behind doors, and thinking they're all above everything and blah blah blah. Like I think it was Brendan. I don't know if you saw the thing he posted on the Discord yesterday about the Catholic Church and the sexual abuses and all that. I'm like, here are the ones that are supposed to be like top tier, first in line through the golden gates, and y'all over there fucking boys and other dirty shit, right? People look up to you, and you're over here doing this type of nasty shit. It's does hypocrisy play a part in any type of philosophy? Would you say?
I'm
sure it could.
What do you mean?
I have no idea. I hate hypocrisy. So I have no idea if there is a connection. It just popped in my head, so I asked it.
Yeah, bro, I hate to make it awkward, but I can't really say without specifics.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. So anyway, you wanted to go into more so a morality discussion.
That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about was the categorical imperative, because it plays in it's a logical way to determine things that are ethical, and I love things like that. People see ethics as a very unlogical branch of philosophy.
Really?
But yeah. But what I mean by that is that the average person, a lot of philosophers, for example, they use these logical methods to determine morality, which regardless, I still kind of cringe when I talk about morality, because not everybody's a philosopher, you know what I mean? So they don't really think about these things in logical ways. So when you talk to somebody about morals and ethics and things like that, it's very easy to stray away from the logic, because the other person, when they believe something is amoral, in my opinion, like 90% of the time, like they believe this to be true. Like there's no denial of it.
No, Go ahead.
which is why I don't like talking about ethics that much. I mean, I'll talk about ethics to people who are willing, but most of the time it doesn't end well. So I don't.
Well, that's fair, and I get what, because at first I was like, where is he going with this? But then I thought about it. If you think of it like logic being concrete, can't argue against it, right? Which is how people think of when they think of something that's logical. It's concrete, provable, whatever the hell, right? But then when you think of ethics and even morals, because they have a lot of similarities. If you think of
complicated.
It gets complicated, but if you put it in terms of like our country versus like a tribe in the Amazon, for let's say,
or like Iraq.
Exactly, that too. So we can look at other cultures and they'll do some like traditional shit that we're like, whoa, what the hell are you guys doing? That's immoral. That's unethical. But for them, that's their way of life. It's not for them. That's fine because that's how they've always done it. It's ethical to them. It's moral for them. That's how they do not see it the way we see it. And yeah, depending on who you're talking to, that can get.
It can go south pretty quick.
Whoa. Yes. 100%.
It's a huge reason why I don't like religion is because
Agreed.
like Sharia law, for example, they perceive these morals to be objective truths because of God's word. So I don't like religion at all because of it. Because I mean, how do you even know that God is real? You know what I mean?
Yeah, my biggest thing with religion is I don't care what you believe in, really. Unless you're Scientologist, because like I said, you're just fucking stupid. I don't care. As long as you don't push your shit onto me and like condemn me, whatever the hell, I don't. And it's still, if you're like, if you want to be like I said, like Mr. Man, Mr. Man, he said he was a Muslim. Cool, be a Muslim, dude. Ain't got no problem with you. But if like someone who follows that religion goes on some radical tear, even with Christianity, we have a fucking dirty past. Christians are horrible people back in the day, so I'm definitely not saying they were any better. Fuck no. Got the whole damn crusades and shit. But like, you don't come at me or my family. You can go off and talk about and believe whatever the hell you want to talk about. I don't really care. It ain't gonna bother me. It's only when it starts to personally affect me in my life to where we might have an issue.
Yeah,
if it don't come that far, yeah, I got no problem.
I have a lot of people in my life that are Christian, and I'm totally cool with that. I'm not gonna push my atheist belief onto you at all. No. You believe in whatever you want to believe in, and like it's cool. Just don't push it onto me, and I won't push it onto you.
Pretty much, that's how it should be. Who cares? Let people believe and do what they want to do, as long as they don't directly affect you or your life.
Yeah.
But then, like, I think, shit, that also, not necessarily religion, but things itself. Because a part of me, all right, so we'll get off religion, and I want to hit on this real quick, and then I'm hungry, so I want to get me something to eat after this.
Okay.
But to kind of stick on morals and ethics, are you fine talking just a smidge about politics? Because obviously here in the States, that's
for sure
shit right now.
I love politics.
Okay, so in my mind, I don't care who you're going to vote for. I fuck it. They both suck in my opinion.
Sure.
Anyways, my thing with politics or just things in general is I'm always that if it don't affect me or my family, fuck it, I don't give a shit. But in terms of like politics, you can't be that way. And I say that because it's not just the individual, you know what I'm saying? So where Like, I will bring up Trump. I don't like him. He's never done anything to directly, positively, or even negatively affect my life or my family's life. Maybe positively in terms of my stocks and, a little bit more in my bank account. That's it. But as far as I recall, he's never done anything to negatively affect me or my life. It's not just me in this fucking country, though. So I gotta look out for everybody else, it seems. Or not, I don't have to, but I should, because that's the, moral and ethical thing to do, I feel. Because it's not just me. And I feel like I've gone on a tangent, but oh fucking well, this is my damn show. I can do what I want.
Yeah, you own it.
Yeah, right. Well, Donovan, anything you want to add to that? I have no idea where I was going.
It's okay, man. I agree with you, to be honest. I feel like you should have a balance with democracy. And I'm gonna say something kind of controversial here, in kind of a authoritarian way, because there are some things that the public absolutely have no idea about. Okay. And you can make judgment calls on their lives if you know for sure that it'll positively impact them, even though that the public thinks no, it won't.
All right.
I know it's kind of...
No. I'm going to stop you there only because, again, this episode was not supposed to be of anything like that, but I want to continue that on a future episode. Okay. 100%. I would love, because I think I have an idea of where you're going, and right now I'm in agreement with you, but I want to discuss this further with you at a later date.
Okay.
So, Donovan, I want to thank you. I know this was literally a last-minute thing for both of us today.
It's okay.
Is there anything you want people to know? I don't know if, like I said, I don't think you have a podcast, but if you want people to find you somewhere or anything like that.
So yeah, I have a Discord.
Okay.
If you want to talk to me about anything related to philosophy, politics, or anything of that nature, you can contact me at Hynek, HYNEK, #8411, and we can talk about it. Thanks.
All right. No problem, Donovan. And I'll link that all down in the description below. And you asked when this would be posted. Since we're doing it today, Monday or Tuesday, more than likely. I'll have this one out. But again, thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to finishing this one up. This one's philosophy. Next one's going to be politics. So,
I love this.
Whoever ended up listening to this whole thing, just stay tuned. We're going to continue this at a later date. Donovan, you have yourself a good day. I'm going to go get you some food.
Yep.
All right, man.
See you later.